Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Ten Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, glad to be here today.
Yep, and today we're talking about probably my favorite thing to talk about in the Pokemon TCG, which is me. It's me, yeah. No, we're talking about the types in the Pokemon TCG and ranking them, all 10 in standard here, and ranking them based on how good their cards are and how good the type is, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I thought this could be good now is first we had rotation recently. We've played with it a little bit, so we have a sense now, a better sense than just predicting beforehand of where things are at, seeing a little bit of surprises. And I also think it's interesting because when we get to about a year from now and we've added a bunch of sets, things will obviously some of these ones that are pretty thin now. It'll be interesting to see and just what happens with these thin ones. I assume some of them will get better over time too.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention is that so we're ranking the types here. I'm pretty sure pre-rotation water was like real bad. I'm trying to think if there's a type. I don't know. Water was quite bad, and I think it's definitely going to
Okay.
be better here. If I'm not mistaken, that was by far the worst. I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, and it's yeah, I think there's three that are really bad probably, and it doesn't include water.
Yeah. But anyways, just wanted to preface it with that. But we're gonna
Yeah.
go in alphabetical order of like the type. So if you didn't know, each type actually has a letter. We're not going in alphabetical order by the letter though. But yeah, each type has a letter. Normally it's the first letter of the type, but obviously like darkness, a dragon, some overlap there. So we're not going to be going over the letter, though. That's a thing. But anyways, the first type here is colorless here. Colorless is obviously a bit of a special type because there's 8 types in the standard format that have basic energies with them, and then that's not colorless and that's not dragon. Dragon uses multiple types and has some special stuff, but colorless is a type that can go into any deck. It doesn't hit weakness on anything really either. I think it is possible to, I don't know. There was a point at which it was, I believe, possible to hit colorless weakness. Don't know if that's possible. Never actually seen it happen though, certainly.
Okay.
Colorless is obviously versatile and it's definitely a good type. I guess I'll quickly go through. Or how do I want to do? Should I just like run through a few cards, or do you want to go card by card?
No, why don't you start saying some of the cards, and then we'll add some too, or however we want to work it.
Okay, so I've just got like the list of the quote competitive cards here. We got Meowth EX. Obviously, this card is very good. This is actually a card I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I haven't played with too much. I played with some. Obviously, it's new from the newest set. By far the best new card from the newest set. And then you also have Fan Rotom I see here, paired with, of course, Noctowl. And that is one of the better engines in standard. You could make an argument it's the best engine in standard. There was like
Yeah.
Trapgos EX, which is like good. Obviously, kind of works with that. There is also Mega Lopunny EX, a decent Mega there. You got Mega Kangaskhan EX, a good card there. Definitely, I'm pretty sure that's the best Mega. There was like there was differences. It's not so much from me attacker, but it's very good. And then
Yeah.
there's also the Dunsparce as well, a pretty nice engine there. And yeah, I'd say those are. Oh, and Blood Moon Luna EX as well. That card is very powerful. A card I for some reason always forget about, especially during games, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, overall, Colorless has a good depth of cards, and there are quite a few powerful cards there as well.
Yeah. Some other cards that you didn't mention there. Well, we have the Porygons here, right?
Yep, the Rockets
Um,
ones.
yeah, the Team Rockets. So, and obviously they're they're useful is not within the main, but within that Team Rockets
Punch.
deck
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So, and then we've also got the Team Rockets Kangaskhan as well gets some play.
Does it?
Um,
I guess I'll.
I was going through decks online earlier of different types, and it was splashed into some, because it can be. And then the Hop Snorlax, which is I don't know if that's even showing up here.
Uh, yeah,
Obviously,
nice.
if you're playing a Hops deck, it's good, right? But Hops decks aren't that good, but they're not the worst decks in the world. So, but you hit the big ones really. So, it's pretty good depth, is what I'd say. Obviously, Meowth EX is one of the better cards in the game right now. Um, two possibly the two best, some of the best engine pieces. I think the Dunsparce I really like as an engine. It gives you a switching too for decks that need that, and obviously Noctowl is maybe is the best deck, the best search in the game. So it is a very good type. How is it going to fit in things? It gets a little tricky with this, right?
Yeah, I will also say Mega Kangaskhan Cognacs, that card is super good. I think that also is one of the like I think Meowth EX is very good. I
Yeah,
think Mega Kangaskhan Cognacs is also on a similar power level. I'd actually like to talk a little bit more about Meowth EX in just a second, but Mega Kangaskhan Cognacs has draw, which is good. It has high HP, which is good. It has a pretty good attack. I mean, overall, it just has good stuff. I've actually talked about this card like so much. It's a really interesting, I think, a really well designed card as well. Pretty fair, but it has like a bunch of different things it's good at, and then a few downsides as well. Obviously, it's a three prizer and it has high retreat and stuff, but ultimately this card is very good and seeing a lot of play. And I wouldn't say it's defining the game, but it's definitely a card. Funnily enough, alongside Meowth EX, that people are like, yeah, this is going to be like a big part of my engine, and
yeah.
also you know a part of my attacking package as well. So it is a very powerful and versatile card there.
Yeah, I mean it's a good engine piece. In some ways better than Pheasantipity EX. That will certainly help the Darkness type. But this gets you cards before you get knocked out too. So that's a good thing there. I'll mention Bouffalant briefly. Just it's a good card too if you're going with a colorless deck potentially. So it's not a terrible card. And like a card like Bouffalant is probably better than maybe some of the cards in some other types too. I maybe not. I do want to mention Fan Rotom. You mentioned it. Very, very good card. Goes obviously in Noctowl decks as well as some other decks as well as an attack that does 70 for 1 energy as long as you have a stadium play. It's a nice little attack on a single prize Pokemon. Especially if you go second, you get yourself set up and you do some damage, potentially knocking out their basic at pre-evolution Pokemon. So, Van Rotom is one I kind of tend to forget about how good it is, but it is very good in a number of decks.
Yeah, definitely a good card there. And just good. But then with Meowth, I said I want to get back to this because
Yeah,
this is the new card, probably the new card we're going to talk about today. The big change with the rotation is, of course, the loss of a lot of cards and somewhat
right.
the change of the metagame. But Meowth EX is a card that allows you to search for supporter on play. It's good. Obviously, it is a liability as well. As I said, not played this card that much. I played it some. But what are your thoughts on this card? And like, how much you played it? Exactly how good do you think this card is?
I think since it's in the game, I think I don't know if I played a deck that doesn't have it in it. I'm not sure that I have. I can't think of anything that doesn't have it. But at the same point, I don't know that I've actually played it much. I might not have, because I tend to you want to avoid a card like this, right? It's weak. It gives up two prizes. It's useful 1 turn only. It's very good that turn. So you want to use it when you have to have it. And I'm usually sitting on it. It's often like for me, if the game's going well, I would use it early in the game if I need it to set up, but I don't. That's something I really want to avoid to do. It's more like late game, it gets me boss for game or something like that. That's my preferred situation. But usually, it hasn't been an issue. Partly, I've been playing a lot of Mega Lucario, which has the Hariyama, so so I don't necessarily need it that often, but it's a very good card. And the attack, yeah, it gets out of play with it, which is nice. But it's 3 energy, so it's not very often, if ever, you're going to actually be able to take advantage of that to get out of play.
Yeah, definitely. A bit of a risk there, but obviously very good
Yeah,
as well. I've seen it like played. I actually a lot of the lists I played haven't played it. Some of them have been my list, some of them have been other people's lists. I don't know. Some of it's probably just coincidence. Some of it's just like I'm just not used to it, right? I mean, it's a card we've seen essentially reprinted from older cards, and I need
right.
to get back to that mindset. But it is very very powerful at various points. Um, Anyways, this tier list, obviously it's a little hard to rank these, especially with this being the first type. But I would put this, I'll just say I'd put it probably in A tier. I think you got some really good cards here, a good chunk of quite powerful cards. Maybe it'll end up in B tier. That's kind of my thought.
Okay, I was gonna say B tier, but it is B or A. Part of it is I don't know if we're gonna have any S tier types with it. In which case, I think there's a couple types better than it probably, but yeah. So we'll put an A tier now, and
Yeah,
obviously we
I'm
can
good.
make
I'm good
the
with B tier actually. Um,
okay.
Feeling that. yeah, I haven't done too much research going into this. I'm not gonna lie, you've done a little more than me. Obviously I know the cards and the game stuff, but yeah. Anyways, you want to kick it off with Darkness here?
Yeah, let me call it up here. So just so I can get the visual here. And darkness is with a D, so all the types obviously don't work that way. Darkness is pretty good. It's got the first card. Is Pheasantipity EX for me. That's just a great card. So that's up there within the top cards in format now. That is one of them. I'm going to kind of go through my list and kind of scan around a little bit at the same time, and you can pick up things I've missed here. And Zoroark is a good engine piece. It's an okay deck in and of itself, is what I'd say. So it's a very meaningful card there. I imagine we have Pekarunt EX here visually, and it's a good card too. Important for some decks. I've never been a huge fan of it, but is quite good. There is what's Janine's secret art do? That's the
Yeah, that's the
supporter.
acceleration supporter. Yeah, so that's pretty good there. Yeah, I guess Colorless is the
That's
type
it.
that doesn't have type specific stuff. I guess except for
Right.
Team Rocket's Watchtower, which is different.
Right, which is actually hurts it. So, and obviously, yeah, different. And so, Genie's Secret, you have to be behind in prizes, right?
No, you accelerate to two different ones. They're both
Okay.
Darkness, I'm pretty sure. I believe they both need to be both Darkness Pokemon and types. Or sorry, Darkness Pokemon and Darkness energies, and then you like poison them if it's the active. It's a card I've like essentially never played, to be honest. It's sometimes played in Zoroark, and
Yeah.
some other stuff, but I played it very little.
Yeah. Marnie's Grimmsnarl, which is obviously pretty solid. It's a good deck. I think it's not a great deck. There's the Cynthia Spiritomb if you're playing a Cynthia's deck, which I
It's a good
probably not
card.
going to. What's that?
Good card. I haven't
Good.
played Cynthia's. It's pretty decent. It can fall short, but it's pretty decent.
I just not a fan of Cynthia's, I got to say, but in general, but yeah. Um, but yes, the Spiritomb is good. Oh, there's the Team Rocket's Honchkrow, so that's the one that goes with the Porygon Z. It's really a Honchkrow deck with Porygon Z added. There's Mega Absol EX, which is kind of the basis of a box style deck, or at least is what the deck's named around. I don't know whether it even has the highest count for Pokemon. Good there. And then I also Yveltal deserves some mention. It's one that I forget about, and I don't really think that highly of it. But a number of decks splash a copy of it in. Hardly it stalls, I guess, is what it's there for, which is a nice thing. It's a pivot and 110 HP. So those to me are kind of the big cards within the darkness category.
Yeah, I guess if I had to add one more card, I'd probably add Toxtricity. This card is
Hmm.
seeing it's not seeing that much play, but it is a pretty good card, a decent energy acceleration card, kind of like Janine good art there. Overall, I think Darkness has some pretty good cards. Obviously, Pheasant DX is very good. This is also a card that I haven't shockingly played that much of post rotation. I'm mostly actually playing, I don't know, a lot of decks just with minimal engines, with like single part. Like I've been playing Dragapult, which just has Drake in that list, which is kind of sketchy.
Okay.
And then I was playing Mega Lucario, which I think I also cut like the Meowth and like Fez. I don't think it has either of those. So, anyways, but it's a very
Okay.
good card. Despite the fact that I'm for some reason not playing it, I do think it is the best Pokemon in the game. And yeah, it's very good. Obviously, drawing you through cards if you're knocked out last turn. You're getting its unfair stamp, and just
Yep.
like in general, right? Very very powerful card. And then Enzark EX is quite good. As like a deck, I think it's not really played outside of the ends deck. I mean, from time to
Right.
time, but not too much. But definitely a pretty good deck there, I'd say. And that, I mean, like a decent deck. And then Marnie's, same
Yep.
thing. It's a decent deck overall. This type does have some decks, but I would say it's a little weaker than Colorless. I'd say it's like kind of comparable. Um, what
Yeah.
what do I?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pheasantipity, it is probably the most universal card in the format right now. So that it might just be potentially the best Pokemon in the TCG right now if you got to pick one. But it doesn't have the same depth, right? And a lot of the cards that I was mentioning, just I don't think they're the same level. Once you get like the fifth, sixth cards, I think you start to see a big difference where the colorless is better. So I think it's probably going to be a tier below. It's not darkness is pretty good though, but I think it's probably a tier below colorless. That's my thought on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be the same, yeah, because
B
Colorless
tier.
doesn't really have cards that define decks too much.
That's
which
true.
is pretty important. But I don't know. I could see it in a tier below. I think it is B tier, so I could see moving Colorless back up to A tier. Um,
Okay. Well, let's keep them both at B tier at this point, and because we'll have to see how the other ones shake out. So I don't know if there's any decks that are going to be types that are going to come in between these, which it'll be interesting to see. Because I kind of was looking at the cards, but I didn't actually really think through, the ratings at all beforehand. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this actually plays out myself.
Yeah, yeah, especially because types they are meaningful. Some obviously, a lot of decks are mostly one type, but then obviously this is combining multiple decks and splitting decks up and stuff. It does some pretty cool stuff here. Looking at it in this way.
Right.
Also, I guess while we're here, I'll say make sure you like and subscribe. We always wait till the end, but let's be honest, most people don't watch the end, so make sure you do that. But yeah, then we got the next type, which also starts with a D, but of course it's not represented by oops, represented by a
Right.
D. I may have bumped my mic there. But anyways, so it is represented by an N here, which is Dragon type. Dragon type is, of course, kind of weird, right? I said it earlier. It doesn't have a basic
Yeah.
energy type. It doesn't hit for weakness, though it can get hit for weak. Well, it doesn't have weakness, but Political Fairy EX. And then also it's like not normal because there's like there it doesn't use colorless. It uses two different types of energies. I guess I'm looking at
Right.
there's a couple of stellars, which have three, but you're gonna be using two different types of energies here, and so definitely definitely a weird type. Obviously, though, talking about this type, we can't talk about it really without talking about Dragapult EX and Dracloak, the top deck in the game. I think I mean it's very very good, right? It's kind of broken. So Dragapult
Yeah.
EX and Dracloak super good. The two of them together. With just one, I think if we didn't have Dracloak, Dragapult EX would be like kind of all right, I guess. And I think Dracloak without Dragapult EX same thing. But ultimately, the two of them together are so good. Look at the other cards. Rageable EX is pretty good, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it post rotation. I haven't really seen it too much either, to be honest. I haven't played with it much either. I played with it some, and it's felt kind of meh. Same thing playing against it. And then there's also Tatsugiri. This card's cool. I don't know how much play it's seeing post rotation. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it too much, but it's like an all right card. And then I guess there's Kyurem for looking, but then um what was the card? Oh, maybe that there wasn't another card. Oh, and Zekrom, as well as like I said,
Yeah.
Shosram. Good cards for the end stack, though they're not obviously anywhere near as important as Enzoric EX. And that's about it. There are a few other cards that kind of see play, but the type just has the least amount of cards, so that's
Right.
kind of rough for it.
Yeah, you hit all the cards that I would have said there. Like I also happen to like the future package, but it's not what you're playing now. I can't imagine. Like with Miraidon, I thought the single prize was good with that, but that's certainly not anything meaningful now. Dragapult is the best attacking deck in the game, so that's a huge bump. And yeah, the Dragapult, the Draglook together is a really good package. Yeah, this is the ends cards. Tatsugiri's fun. I kind of forgot about it when I was looking through decks. I said, "Oh, there's Tatsugiri as well." Even before rotation, I mean, I wouldn't play it. I like Tatsugiri, but I never played it in that many decks, so it's always a little tricky in that sense. The one is now Raging Bolt is one that we rated highly with our list for decks for post rotation, which we made earlier. But yeah, I think we messed up. We missed on that one because it's not seeing a lot of play from what I can tell. And I did have my own questions about it, but I knew that there were, I was swayed because a lot of people still were big believers in it, and it's looking like it's not really going to be that good post rotation. Time will tell. It's got it. Maybe things change, but yeah, Raging Bolt is looking like it's not as good as we thought it was going to be. But so Dragon type's weird. Like you said, it doesn't have many cards. It has one really good card and some okay cards, and then nothing else. So it's a tricky one to place. It's definitely below what we have here. I'm guessing it's a C tier. That's my thought, just because it doesn't have much depth. It can't be below C tier because it's got one of the best cards in the game, though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm almost wondering if it should be like in D tier, but like Dragon Ball EX is so good, right? So, yeah, I think C tier is perfect for it. Um, yeah, I mean Dragon Ball is so good, right? It's the card
Yes.
that reflects the metagame right now. Anyways, I think there's not too much to say about Dragon type though, to be honest. Yeah. Then we got the next type though. I'll move on here, which is
Yep.
fighting, represented by F, unlike fire, which wait and see what letter represents fight for fire. I mean, but anyway, so fighting type here. Fighting type is I'm not gonna lie, this type is super good in my opinion.
Yes.
It's got obviously. Oh, I guess I'll mention it's got some trainers. It's got Fighting Young, Premium Power Pro, and
It's got
Paragon.
the
Yeah,
Rocky energy too.
yeah, Rock Fighting Energy. That card's
Yeah.
okay. And yeah, and then of course it has some decks here. It has the Cynthia's deck, Cynthia's Garchomp PX with Cynthia's Goodbye. I've been playing this a lot. It's pretty decent. You got the new
Okay.
Barbarical as well, another decent card that accelerates energy. Played with Okidogi as well, which I here it is. Okidogi, cool single price deck. It's by no means bad. There's also Mega Lucario EX. This deck's played a lot. I will say it might be a little overrated, but it's pretty good. You said you were playing it, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in a second.
Yep.
Of course, paired with Lunatone, a very good engine piece. There's also like a decent secondary attacking. I mean, it's okay, certainly. For a card you like have
Yeah.
to play, it's pretty decent. Hariyama gusting there, and an attacking option, pretty nice. Then I'll mention I guess. Of course, Master Pontiac, that card's good. I love that card. Haven't seen it too much, and in the metagame, it's kind of
Right.
meh, but it's a good card. Then there's also there's Tinglu played in some spread box decks. Um, Wait, no, never mind. It's not really playing that anymore. Post rotation. But then there is Drillbur. Drillbur is really nice for Zero Edge, which I think Zero Edge is good. We'll get to that though. But oh yeah, and then Greninja EX. Greninja EX, which I've just been like obliterated by a couple of times, but this card is pretty sick. The not water Greninja EX here. But
Right.
yeah, fighting has a lot of really good cards there.
Yeah, and it's got the new the mega what the new mega,
Zygarde.
right?
Yeah.
Zygarde, which I ran into. I've seen it played, and I
Yep.
was glad because I was playing a grass deck, so it was a free game for me essentially. Um, but anyway, that that's there. Obviously, live is trying to encourage you to play that if you're a live participant there. I don't not a big huge fan of that, but
Of
look,
what?
the
The
Luna
deck or
of
live?
the Mega Zygarde is I mean. And live's fine. It's live is what it is. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking to dive into that. That was the intention. Look, so Lunatone Soul Rock, one of the best. We mentioned the other good engines and Colorless. This is also one of the best engines in the game. This one could be the best engine too, right? When you draw um, three cards turn after turn, it is very good, right? With Radiant Greninja was essentially the same thing. That was one card, but it was a Radiant, so this is not Radiant, so they made it two cards, not bad. And it does have the one, like you said, the attacking with the Soul Rock, so that's really good for fighting. Mega Lucario is, I think it probably is the second best deck in format now. I've been playing a good bit. It works simply. It flows well. What I've had, what I've run into problems with the deck is, I haven't had too much psychic hate. I haven't run into that too much psychic decks. So, which is obviously a way to deal with Dragapult. So I haven't had that issue, which is problematic because obviously you're getting one shot. That's bad news for the megas. The biggest weakness I've had is single prize decks, which aren't bad now. And I'm giving up three prizes there. Even if they can't one shot me, they're two shotting me, and I just lose the prize race then. So single prize decks are really, really rough. Then obviously the Hariyama is a very good card with its Augusting, and if you get into a single prize matchup, powering up the Hariyama and attacking with it becomes very important as well, right? It does 210 on a single prize, that's very nice. Does 70 to itself. I mean, I've had games where I've attacked twice with the Hariyama, and I still sit there with 10 HP, thinking, okay, this maybe could actually work out. So, the Hariyama, it's tricky because the Hariyama's retreat cost is three. So if you don't power it up, you're also looking to get stuck in the active, which is a bad thing. But that Hariyama is a really nice card there. And like you said, the Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon has really kind of fallen off. I kind of forgot about it. It's still a very good card, but I don't think it's seeing much play. But it's still very good. So and those trainers, the Fighting Gong, Premium Power Pro, super super good cards. So fighting is very good right now.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about Cynthia's Garchomp EX as well. I think honestly
Yeah.
the deck plays to me I don't know if super similarly in terms of play pattern to Mega Lucario, though it has some similarities, but also I don't know, it feels like it sets up pretty well. It does just pretty good stuff. Obviously, there's some a good chunk of not fighting stuff. That I would say the deck is like over half fighting or something. I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to talk about it. But obviously you have the two attacks are pretty decent. Honestly,
Yeah.
pretty comparable to regular Lucario EX, and then you can
Yeah.
buff the damage with the Roserade line there. Obviously, a different engine, but the deck feels pretty good. I legitimately do think it is good. As I said, pretty, in my opinion, comparable to Mega Lucario. But anyways, I think most people would say the deck is like okay, and it certainly adds to the type. But I think the big thing is Lunatone Solrock and just the general fighting stuff. I do think. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'd put this type, but where would you put it?
Let me come back over here. I mean, I think it's A tier probably. I don't. Is it going to be the
For
best type? I don't know, but it's really good. If it is the best type, I don't think it's S tier though. Because probably the best attacker is the Mega Lucario. It's good, very good, but it's not great, right? And it doesn't have like the Pheasantipity and the Meowth EX. It doesn't have those one of support Pokemon at that level either. But it's got very good stuff and very good depth though.
yeah, I'd almost say I don't even know if I put it above Colorless because Colorless has theoretically engines you can like put in any type and just some like really really powerful engines. Honestly, I guess not in every type, but in like they're more versatile versus Lunatone
Yeah.
Solrock is a little more niche. I mean, if fighting's really good, I don't have an issue putting it above. I think it's pretty close there. Um,
Okay. I think I think the question becomes, and it's a matter of how we want to take into consideration. I think fighting, if you take in Fighting Gong and Premium Power Pro into the mix, is the best. But if you get rid of those trainers, then it falls below. Because that makes those decks so much better. Those cards.
yeah, I'm good with putting it in A tier.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, including those cards. They are a part of it. They aren't fighting Pokemon, but they are very very good. And they
Okay.
obviously are like fighting. I mean, fighting is literally in the name.
Yes.
But then we
Okay.
got. Oh, you want to go with the next type?
Yeah, so now we go to one of my favorite types, and it's not F because F does not stand for fire, but R because F was taken for fighting. So fire type, which is unfortunately not good. We've gone from one of the best types to one of the worst types in the game. When I was looking through things beforehand, I came up with two cards that I thought, and we can kind of scan through the list as well. The one which is one of your favorites, which has never been one of my favorites, and that's Ceruledge EX. You can make the case for that in a minute, and then the other was say Flareon EX, which I like for the EV box, but I'll be honest with you, when you get to Ceruledge EX and Flareon EX, I think they're the best fire Pokemon. They're not top 10, probably even not 15 Pokemon for fighting and colorless type, I gotta say. And I didn't list anything else for fire type because what, I'm gonna put one of these Mega Charizards down? I just, the fire is just so unloved right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think there's a couple cards you missed here.
Okay.
But I don't know how much like Flareon seeing. I haven't like that deck. But I do think Sailor's is good. But I'll get to that. So there's
Yeah.
N-Star Mantan. I think actually N-Star Mantan is super good, or it's pretty good. Definitely,
Okay.
whenever I'm against an Ends deck, this is what I'm scared of. And people are playing it in
Yeah.
Ends. It's not like some amazing card, right? But we are talking about like Dragon type with End Zekrom and End Sylvestrium, and
Yes.
I'd say those two together are worth more than N-Star Mantan. But like, it's definitely a card that sees play in a good deck. It is meaningful,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah, no, if you're playing an Enzoric deck, you're playing the Ends Darmanitan in it for sure.
yeah. Then we got the Blaziken EX as well. Blaziken EX, a card I actually need to play. I've not played this, but it's played in Dragapult. It's not always played in Dragapult, but it's played in it some, and that's worth a bunch, right? Being played in
Yeah.
Dragapult means you're probably played a lot. So yeah, this card. Wait, have you played? How much Dragapult have you actually played Poster 2?
I haven't played any
Oh,
Dragapult, so
okay.
I know it's the best deck, but I've been trying out other things, so
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Have you seen much Drag? I assume you've seen Dragapult, right?
I have, but honestly, I haven't seen as much as I would have expected.
Yeah.
Honestly, I probably single prize decks are the ones I've been seeing most because, like I said, they're in they're in a healthier place than they have been very better than typical, and obviously people like single prize decks, so that's probably honestly half the matches might be single prize decks for me.
Yeah, you know what they say. Single prize decks are like so good against spread. Yeah. No, but yeah, I imagine a lot of people are playing fun, silly stuff. But yeah, I haven't seen that much of Dragapult Blaziken, but I've seen a little. It seems like kind of cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's pretty decent, I guess. Blaziken EX is like a mediocre card to be honest, but like, it's something. So I figured those two were worth mentioning. I said you missed them,
Yeah.
not that they're like super. I don't know if you just thought they weren't good enough or just like missed them or
Yeah,
whatever.
I kind of both. I kind of forgot about them, and I don't think they're quite as good. And I guess the other card that is Ether's Ho Ho EX. I don't know post rotate. It wasn't that good pre rotation, and I don't know if
Without
that
armory.
it's yeah. So it's worse now, and it wasn't great before. So I don't know that it really has value, but it's a cool card.
Yeah, and I guess there's the Ethan's deck there as well. There's some like fire stuff that is around, but it's
Yeah.
mostly more fun. But I do think Sailor X is pretty good. I certainly think it's a top 10 deck in the game. I did a tier list. When I actually made that tier list, there were a lot of decks that were a lot closer to each other than I was expecting, and the metagame felt a lot more balanced than I was expecting. But ultimately, I do think Sarah X is good. I was wondering. Sometimes I make like a prediction. So if you haven't noticed this, I've been really liking Sarah EX. Before rotation, I was like thinking it would be super good post rotation. And there are times when I'm just like I get a I'm like drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever the saying is, and so I'm just really really hyping myself up and like being like, yeah, this is like gonna be good, and everyone else is like, nah, it's not really gonna be good, and then I'm wrong, right? But this one I felt like this deck like actually feels very good. I mean not like absurdly good, but it feels pretty decent. It does Sarah stuff. It can do pretty big damage, and it's just a pretty good deck. Um, able to. I think it's the best one-shotting deck in the game. I mean, there's Alexam as well. I guess Alexam's pretty good as well. But ultimately, the deck's good. Um, and so I think it does like carry it a bunch. That being said, I think it's probably D tier. It's not very good. The type.
Right, because like Sarah Ledge, yes, it is the best of the cards, but it's not as good as Mega Lucario. Obviously, it's not. It's a like Pheasantipede is not an attacker, but it's a much better card than the Colorless has. So yeah, so you think so D tier?
Yeah, I'm looking at the tier
Um,
list here because we have Dragon type in C tier, and the card
yeah,
carrying that is Dragapult, and Sarah isn't as good as Dragapult. So
right. And,
yeah,
and I think we actually listed more meaningful Dragon Pokemon than Fire Pokemon as well.
yeah, maybe. I mean, we didn't list a lot of either. But yeah.
No, no, they're both pretty thin, but the high end, the peak of Fire is still not that great.
Yeah, I don't think it's F. I don't know. I don't know if you do you feel good with D tier.
No, I'm good with that. I think there's one type that's worse. I
Okay.
think, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Then we have the next type, which is grass here. Grass is a good type. This is actually the thing that well, did this inspire you? Because you like brought this idea to me. We've done it like in the past some, but is this the reason why you want to do it or not?
Partly, yeah. It was as I've been messing around. A lot of decks that have been grass decks. I've been doing fire decks and grass decks. Partly because the Teal Mask Ogre Pond is just such a great. It's a nice engine piece. And it's a little bit it's versatile, right? With what things you can do with it, which we'll get into. There's just and then so and there's just a ton of grass support right now. But I was thinking, hey, that's it's a card. It's really universal. I think it was good pre-rotation. I think it's better now, and that's kind of just think that kind of got me thinking about this idea about ranking the types
Yeah.
now.
All right, just realized we missed a card or a couple of cards with fire. There's
Okay.
like Moltres and some like various single
Yeah.
prizers that are like decent. They see playing like some stuff like maybe Blaziken Dragapult. They're not like super good. They see some play. So figured I'd
Yeah.
mention that. I remember them because they're good against Team Sugar Pontiacs, which you mentioned. Obviously, a very good card, which we'll dive into in just a second here, which
Right.
is useful within grass decks as well as decks that are not I guess not primarily grass like Raging Bolt, but I mean you could even say that they are like
Right.
grass decks if you want to. Then there's a bunch of other. Oh, there's Badoo. Yeah, that card's very good. I it's it's like it's like a colorless attack. Weakness doesn't really matter with it, but so good. Obviously, item lock for free on a basic is very very
Yes.
powerful. Then there's like Monkey Venusaur and Meganium and There is wow, grass is very good. It's got
Yep.
those. It's got it also has Festival Lead, which is like an all right single prize deck. It's got Shaman for bench protection. It's got Cynthia's Rosary, pretty decent card there.
Yep.
Team Rocket's Fight Ops, and it's
Yes.
got um Crustal as well. Crustal is pretty good, I think. Did I miss any cards there?
Um, you hit the big ones. Let's see. No, you skipped Arboliva, so I
Oh, that's
definitely
true. Yeah.
that's important because that's one of the ways you can build the Ogre Pond deck, right? Leaning into that, which I think is a fun one there. I would say I just want to mention Rabska. It's not the best card, but I've actually been running into some people playing it lately, and it is meaningful. So in some situations, right, it is good, does give good protection. It's an evolution. That's a downside. And then I've actually been seeing when I was looking at lists for things, Iron Leaves was actually in a lot of lists too, like as a one of, which I had kind of, which I wasn't thinking of, but obviously if you want to get, if you're playing the Ogre Ponds and you need to hit for grass weakness, it's good. Part of why grass is good. These are good cards that we've listed. Fire isn't that good, like we said, so that's a big plus for grass. Because like you mentioned, Crustal is the last of your cards, but I think it's one of there's probably like 15, it might be 10 to 15 cards better than Crustal in grass. So that's part of the strength. And then, we have these really good supporters. There's the special energy, growing energy that what gives you what plus 20 HP, I think.
Yeah.
Is that what it does? The switch isn't bad, but then bug catching set I think is very good if you're playing one of these decks with a lot of grass. Pokemon and energy, especially like the Teal Mask Ogre Ponds. There, you have a lot of stuff there, and then Forest of Vitality, super good and super important, right? That's why we can get away with Meganium, these evolution decks, these stage 2 decks. And without playing rare candy, so it is very good there. So a lot of really good cards here. Badu is like splashed into almost every deck, annoyingly so, unfortunately, but it's a good card. Teal Mask Ogrepon is super versatile. It's one of the basic ways to go with the deck, and it's also worth keeping in mind it is a Terra Pokemon, which means then you can pair that with the Noctowl engine, which of course is a different type, but it is probably a lot of Noctowl engines are because Mask Ogrepon is in the deck, and you also have the Stadium to expand your bench with the Terra. So sometimes that's part of the deck too. But assuming you don't need to play the Forest of Vitality.
Yeah, definitely some really cool stuff you can do with Heal Mystical Funny-Axe. You can use it to get energy onto your board, to switch off to something with energy switch. You can
Yeah,
use it to then bin it with Regibolt EX. You can just attack with it. There's some other like grass stuff you can do. It's just a really cool card and really good.
yeah.
And Badoo, actually, Badoo might be better than Pheasant EX now that I think about it. Like, for so long, Pheasant EX has been like the best Pokemon in the game for me, but Badoo might be better.
Hmm.
Like, it's very good. Really slowing so many decks down. It's not the most distant, or I don't know. I rather it puts your opponent into a position where their deck isn't as consistent, but it can like usually still play. But anyways, Badoo is like so good and so nasty. It's so good. And then I mean, there's just like so much stuff to dive into with the type that I feel like most of it is kind of like, I'm just like looking around and like yeah, Cynthia's Rosary, which I think is like a decent. And then you
Right.
have Shaman, which and a very nice tech card. Definitely we'll actually get to some of the spread attackers. I mean, there's even like Arboliva EX. I don't think Arboliva EX is a very good card. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's like it's not really good at all. But um, Shaman will stop that. There's also like a Starmie EX, which is see in play and a few different things. So definitely it's interesting to see Shaman being like actually very good. Um, and like pre-rotation was played a bunch, but I don't think it was super. But yeah, definitely super powerful there. And then with these stuff, like the quote grass stuff with Force of Vitality, you have like what I'd say Mega Venusaur, you could toss in Arboliva EX, and then of course Meganium. Meganium is
Yeah.
quite good with Teal Missile upon EX, letting it go from a mostly support Pokemon with some like moderate draw and like acceleration, but like sometimes you should jump through hoops, turning it into this actually legitimately powerful attacker there.
Yeah, I mean, right, doubling all your energies, super good there. I One of the grass decks that I've had success with is Yen Mega, but I got kind of lucky with that. But it was a fun one there. But it's not that good of a card. But it's and Maractus is actually a card that is worth splashing in a number of decks too, but doesn't really make deserve a mention. But if it was one of these weaker types, it might be a top five card for some of those types there. And you briefly mentioned it, but just go back again. The Thwacky Festival lead decks are very good, and they're scary once they set up. So that's again, Grass is the heart of those decks. So Grass just has a lot of really good cards, right? It's got the most depth to it, I think, certainly of the types that we've talked about so far.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm so used to not, saying that because grass is
Yeah,
historically bad, but yeah, it's got. Oh wait, check it out. I don't know. But
yeah,
yeah,
briefly, but not
uh,
much. Yeah.
super good there. Um, definitely, definitely very good. I mean, this could be the best type in the game.
I think it probably is. The question is, it does it have like a top card? I don't know. Certainly, you mentioned Badu. Badu could be the best card in the game. Maybe the most universal. The TMS Ogopan with the Meganium could be the best attacker. Obviously, we have the Mega 2, Mega Venusaur with the healing as another way to go in that. So it's just got such diversity in it and so many useful cards. Fighting has probably the better attacker in Mega Lucario, but Grass is probably better than fighting, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like best cards, I'd say Badu's super good. Probably, the best of
Yeah.
the cards in the types, and then I'd say Teal Mazoga Pony X is probably the second best, and third might be. I don't know. I mean, I think grass is just better. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Obviously the tiers get tricky, but yeah, so I'll put that at the top of A tier Grass right now. And we'll have to think through whether we're going to shift some of these around to get them with the tiers. But we still have some more types to go because we actually we're just over halfway at this point. So, but we've got most of the strong types here, not quite all of them. I guess we're moving to one of the not so strong types. I think it's the weakest type when I was looking through, and that's lightning type. So calling it up here, what we got. So look, when I went through the decks out there, I had a tough time coming up late. Honestly, fire and another type we're getting to was tough to get cards for. Lightning, I think, is the weakest type. It's got look, Pikachu EX is a good card. I'm not gonna pretend otherwise, but it's still not used that much, right? It's not easy to power up, so I don't think it's that great of a card. But I think it's by far the best card. The other card that's good is Joltik, which of course is your favorite card, right? You hated Joltik pre-rotation, and now with the post-rotation world, I think it's in a worse spot even. So I don't think I wouldn't mention Joltik on for this most of the other types, and even Pikachu EX is kind of fringe for these other types, and it just doesn't have a lot. Electric is a good card. I certainly that's the case, but it doesn't have anything good to work with it, right? So therefore, Electric's just not very useful.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I'm just looking around. Like Aerithro DX obviously at one point could be good again, but realistically not at all right now.
Yeah,
And the type is just so. I'm almost looking at like how you got Ionos, um, Necron EX, Mega Electric EX. These cards are just like from mediocre. They're not like terrible cards, right? They're not like
right.
good. They're kind of whatever. It's fine. But you're looking for these cards that are actually good. You can't really find them here. Lightning lost some stuff with rotation. It wasn't super good before rotation, and now it feels just kind of dead. Honestly, no Iron Hands EX, which is super good, or like
Yeah,
pretty good. Sometimes amazing. Like giving you versatility within these box style decks. So I think look at Pikachu X within Terra Box, which like I can't think of the last time. I mean, I can think of the last time I saw Terra Box. It was pre rotation. You can play post rotation, not really being played.
right.
People are playing different styles of box stacks with like Ogre Pond and stuff. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's F tier, right? I think.
I think it is. Yeah, I mean, none of these cards would. I'm not sure that these cards that we mentioned would have made it mention on even the other weak types. So I think unfortunately it's F tier. Yeah, and lightning is obviously a major type in the TCG, but it's just got no love now. So we'll see how it stays long term. By the way, your sound isn't quite as good since you bumped your mic. So I don't know if there's
Oh,
any.
is it better now? Not better.
I think that's a little better.
Okay. So anyways, the actually gonna unplug and replug. I'm back. I'm back. There we go. I don't know
No,
if that fixed it, but sorry about that. I will mention so obviously in the video game there are a bunch of types, right? In the TCG there are
yeah,
10, so there's less. Um, that being said, so that means that it's not an even distribution. So there are a bunch of types. Like some types have a bunch of types. Like Psychic has three, and then uh, Lightning has just one. It's Electric from the video game to the TCG is now Lightning, so it has less cards. So that's like a thing worth mentioning.
yeah, right. That's kind of why there's less types because I assume that it's relatively evenly distributed in the video game. Could be wrong about that, but and when you have a bunch of types going migrating to one type, then yeah, for the TCG things get skewed there.
Anyways,
All right, so
yeah, I got the next type here, I
go ahead.
guess. So this type is metal. Oh, this doesn't have a lot of cards. Yeah, so metal is a type here. It's got a few interesting cards. There's actually one card that I don't see on this list that is pretty decent post rotation, I suppose. But you see, I'd say the main thing here is going to be our Caledon EX. Our Caledon EX is okay,
Yeah.
I guess. There's also Genesect. I don't really think this is played too much, but I don't know. It's like a card I don't think is very good. The basic. Then there's Genesect EX as well, which is a good card. And there are two different metal decks, which, by the way, on Limitless. Looking through these, it's kind of annoying to figure out which one's which because I like open up Genesect DX and I see a bunch of Metagross decks.
Okay.
And some of the Metagross decks are with Steven's Metagross DX. Like you got Steven's Metagross DX, then Polygon EX. This deck's played some, and then
Yep.
some of the decks are with Metang with the Stage 2 Metagross. I guess like current standard, you wouldn't find those because the Metagross isn't out yet. But looking at the City Leagues in Japan where the new Metagross is out, it's impossible to tell which is which. They're just Metagross
Okay.
Genesect, and they could be either of the two. But anyways, so yeah, you got those. You got Stevens Metagross EX and Metang, which don't work together like really at all, but they are both pretty decent mental energy acceleration cards. Stevens Metagross EX, the deck I've seen some. I don't think it's super good. Long story short, I think this type between I think it's a D tier below fire, but yeah, you got Mega Marvel EX, Mega Skarmory EX, pretty fun megas there. They're not amazing, but they're decent within this like metal box style um deck. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Stevens Metagross, which is an interesting card, one I've stayed away from. It kind of gets to this funny box style deck, right, between Metal and Psychic. Um, but Genesect DX was very good pre-rotation with Goldengo, and obviously Goldengo was a top deck, both a great attack, a good draw as well. So lost, pre-rotation metal would have been much higher than it's going to be now. And a card like Genesect EX is just isn't that useful because there's not that good many cards to get. The Arcalon EX I think is the best of the metal attackers. It's still not that good though. It's pretty underwhelming, I would say. So, it's not great. And there is the Genesect as well. That right, you can stop people from playing their ace specs, but again, not don't think that's seeing a lot of play here. So, and you got like Hops Zacian if you want to go for like a Hops deck, right? But you probably have better things to do than that. And then what did we mention Mega Mawile, which is okay, right? In like an Absol box type deck, I would think. So, but again, nothing great there. So, Metal's pretty weak. It's not going to be F tier, I don't think, but it's not very good.
Yeah, what would you put it between fire and lightning in D tier?
Um, yeah, I guess. I mean, the question is, would you think you like Sarah Ledge better than Arcaladon, right?
Yeah, I mean I
That's, I
think you do
guess,
too.
that
I mean I feel like our Caledon hasn't really played very much, right?
no.
I can't think of the last time I've seen it. Like actually, I mean it's not been like super long rotation, but it's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of meh.
No, you're right, and then maybe the Stevens Metagross is better, but again, you're not seeing a lot of that. So I think yeah, D tier below fire is the right place for metal.
Yep. Yeah, you want to over psychic here. Pretty interesting type, I think.
Yeah, this one is going to be an interesting one. I This one surprised me when I was going through it. The Psychic was better than I was thinking. So, going through, there's a lot of cards. There's Ten Type's favorite card in Monkey Dory, there, which is a very good card.
It's a good card.
You
It's a
need
good
to
card.
acknowledge that as well. What's that?
It's a
But
good card. Yeah.
you think it gets overhyped, which I get. I'm just going to go through my order first, and I'll fill a few in. So Latias EX, really good support card. I know it's very good. So period. Lily's Clefairy, an important card for countering Dragapult there. Alakazam being possibly the best single prize deck in format with a nice engine and it just a fun deck to play. So that's very good there. It's we have Jellicent EX, which is okay. It's not great, but it's it's item lock is always a nice thing. There Dusknoir, which is that's very good. So there's no two ways about that there. Mega Diancie EX, which is all right there. Team Rocket's Mewtwo. If you're going with Team Rockets, it's obviously the single prize Alakazam might be better, but Team Rocket's Mewtwo is not bad either, and the Team Rocket's support package is quite good, so therefore value there. Um, and then what and Slow King is also its own. It's a fun deck. I'm not a big believer in it. I don't know if Ten Types has played it to get his thoughts on it, but it's certainly a lot of fun, and it's certainly not terrible. And then we have Telepathic Energy that has some value, and Wondrous Patch, which is a very nice item card, getting energy acceleration. So it kind of helps make up for that loss of Gardevoir there. So a lot of good cards in Psychic. Not great cards, I don't know, but a lot of very good cards.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I would definitely say there some of those are great cards. Probably top 10 cards there. And yeah,
Oh,
honestly,
yeah,
like I kind of forgot about Wonders Patch and also Telepathic Psychic. Obviously, they're not on this page here. They aren't Pokemon, but they work
right.
only with Psychic. Definitely very good cards there. I guess I'll also mention Bronzong. It stops your opponent from evolving. I'd say that card might even be better than Slowking. It's not super
Hmm.
good, but it's annoying. It's very annoying. There's also Togekiss. I also really don't like that card, but that card's played some. And yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you look at though. You look at Lottie SEX. Lottie SEX is probably a top 10 Pokemon. I don't know. I don't know exactly where that would end up, but it's got to be pretty high there. And then
Yeah.
you also have we have Dusknoir as well, probably in that top 10 area. We're seeing a bunch of Psyduck, and
Yeah.
so there's like that as a counter, but it's really good. I do think it is the best way to play Dragon Ball. As I said, I haven't played Dragon Ball Blaziken. I mostly played Dragon Ball Dusknoir, and pretty much everyone I've played against, or most people I've played against that have been playing Dragon Ball, have been playing Dragon Ball Dusknoir there. And
Yeah.
then there's also Monkey Doria. Monkey Doria, I think is a pretty mediocre card. Honestly, I think it's about as good. I think like if people were hyping it out, like heard people wanted this card to be banned, which I have like no idea what they're on. But anyways, Magidori is like it's just a decent card, definitely. I've been actually playing this card a lot with Frostlass, just a really really fun deck there for me,
Yeah.
not my opponents. And so that's good. And then honestly, like Liz Clefairy EX, this card's so good. It's probably the best counter card in the game. I mean, Dragapult EX is the best deck of the game. It's a pretty good counter. There's some nuance there, but
Yeah.
it's good there. And then against Michael Lucario as well, which most people are saying is the second best deck in the game. Yeah, it's a pretty decent counter there as well. Obviously, the whole type is a counter. And then Team Marks V2X is also, I mean, it's not a super good card, but it's a pretty decent deck. And then Alexam as well, similar idea. That one's, going to be, I'd say, a bit better. I like looking around. Those cards are all, I
Yeah.
think, quite good there. You're probably looking at multiple top 10 cards as well, which is impressive. Not like
Hmm.
two best of the best of the best, but very, very good card.
Yeah, and not at the same level, but like the Team Rockets Mimikyu, if you're playing a Team Rockets deck, the Team Rockets Mewtwo deck that is Team Rockets Mimikyu is definitely a part of that deck. So yeah, good card. But there are a number of, like you said, probably top 10 cards. This may probably has the most potential top 10 cards of any type. So it doesn't have. I don't think it has a card that vies for like the best card, but it's got a lot of very good cards and very good depth. So it's one of the best types. I don't think it's at the top though. Um,
Yeah.
but it's probably
Uh,
got to be A tier, right?
Yeah, I'm looking like through. This is definitely really interesting. I'd probably put it between grass and fighting.
Okay.
Grass has a better card as well as like he has the individually best card of that tier, and then also
Hmm.
has the compared to Psychic has like a deck or
Yeah.
more decks like built around it. I mean, Alexander's like is kind of built around Psychic, but it's just like the card. You see a lot of grass cards coming together and doing some good stuff. And I think it also uses the support better. Telepathic Psychic Energy and Wondrous Patch are used some, but they're not like these cards. I mean, they are very good cards. I legitimately think they are both amazing cards, and we've seen Wondrous Patch or like
Yeah.
cards like Wondrous Patch be legitimately amazing in the past. But Psychic isn't really using them to its like their fullest potential because of the cards that they got. Versus with Bug Catching Set and Force of Vitality, like Bug Catching Set is honestly it's like a decent card, right? But like it's so
Yeah.
good in Grass of the Ogre Pond, and Force of Vitality is just this like card that's so powerful, so scary. So I would say that Grass is a little better, though I'd say it's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, they're different, right? I guess yeah, we're not quite done. I wonder if is fighting then not at the same tier, you think, as those two decks?
It's interesting because in that same regard, fighting has the decks built around fighting the most, and
Yeah.
like there's the fighting package, there is the grass package kind of, but I'm definitely thinking about it, and I'm also thinking about colorless. I guess I could see, yeah, I don't know, I'm like really unsure there, honestly.
Okay, well, let's leave it like it is. We have one more type to go, so
Yep.
which is a pretty safe bet that it's not going to make A tier. But we'll see what you have to say. But this is water is the last of the types, as
Yep.
I'm trying to load the page here. And
Um,
again, this one's thin, is what I'll say. It's not as thin as some. It's got Psyduck for one thing, so therefore that's a meaningful card there. It's got Frostlass, which you mentioned, a fun card there. Can be fun to play, not fun to play against, like you said. We got the Mega Frostlass EX, which I think is probably a one of if you're playing a Frostlass deck. I would think is generally the way that works. It's got one of the new cards, right? The Mega Starmie EX, not great, but okay. Uh, and then let's take a look here. So there is the Team Rockets Articuno. So if you're playing a Team Rockets deck, you're playing Team Rockets Articuno in it. The Sea King, which is part of the Festival Lead package, and then Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, which I kind of in and it's good and it does traps Pokemon and also can hit the bench. So that's useful. You got to power it up, and we do have everybody's top Pokemon as I'm looking here, Palafin EX. So don't want to forget him.
Yep. And then there's another one which I haven't played too much, but okay, I actually haven't seen it played too much either. I've seen it in like lists. That's Champao, Discardia Stadium. This can do some like really
Hmm.
cool stuff, but I haven't actually seen it doing any of that cool stuff. But it theoretically can do some fun stuff with Air Zero Underdepths. But in terms of some
Yeah.
of these cards, yeah, I think water is pretty decent. So pre-rotation, it was pretty bad. Didn't really have too much going for it. Post-rotation, though, I mean, there's Psyduck, Psyduck's good. And then there's a handful of decent cards that we're mentioning there. I see Tortuga. Tortuga is so fun, but not very good. But then with obviously Frostlass, and then even Mega Frostlass EX. Mega Frostlass EX is actually very. I mean, it legitimately might be the single. I don't know if the scariest Pokemon in the game. But this card can just like obliterate anything. It's can do so much damage, or it cannot, right? Like your opponent kind of has control over it and stuff, but it can be
Right.
so powerful. I've seen so many huge knockouts. I don't know if it's the main deck I've been playing, Mega Star and Mega Frostlass, but it's been one of the main ones. And Mega Starmie EX as well is quite good. I think it's a good deck. I've heard some people say it's bad, um, but I haven't really heard reasons as to why. People just said like it's not good, which isn't really a reason. So that's actually true with a lot of decks. People just like say like this deck's bad and that's it. But anyways, Mega Frostless EX is really sometimes really powerful. Obviously, it's not everything, but it can be huge. Mega Starmie EX is okay. It's a decent card. It's kind of like a baby Dragapult. Um, it's not Dragapult, right? It's got some similarities there, right? So definitely a pretty nice card. And as a deck, I mean, it's a pretty decent deck, and it is a water deck as well. Now there's like a water deck. Previously, there's like Wilson Master Pontiacs and Psyduck, and those cards were like decent, but not decks. The Water Ogerpon is kind of a deck, I guess, not really. And then the Psyduck is not obviously a deck at all. Psyduck is useful against Dustorm. Honestly, like one of the hardest cards to rate. Like I guess it's good. It like counters something very specific, but it's
Right.
definitely a sometimes very very good card.
No, it's definitely a meaningful card in the TCG. We didn't even mention, say, for Alligator that was good at one point in time. I don't think it's good now, but maybe it could be. I don't know. It was certainly fun. I don't think we're wanting to play it now, but so Water's okay. It's good. It's not great. It's obviously not great though. And I guess I'm even kind of hesitant to call it good. It depends kind of where it's better than the bottom three decks, three types for sure. It's better than lightning, metal, fire. I don't know, it gets tricky. It's not it doesn't get up to the level of darkness, I don't think. It's a
Yeah,
question of is it better than dragon type or not? And that's a really I'm inclined to say no. It does have more good cards than dragon type, but obviously Dragapult is just really really good, right? So it's an interesting decision there.
yeah. Oh, another card you mentioned this. Like we didn't talk about it more
That
deeply, but that's Articuno as well, or Two Marks Articuno, which is very good.
yeah
It's actually good against Dragapult. I
yeah
don't want to say I don't know. I'm inclined to say yes. Because there's so many decent cards. I think like I don't know. I think Biggest Star and Mega Frostless is a certainly top five deck in my opinion. Um,
okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but it's good. It's good. Um, Dragon is really good though. I don't know. So are you saying you want to put water below Dragon?
I mean, I think they're both C tier, right? I think Dragon and Water are C tier, and I could go either way. If you wanna, I'd probably put Dragon above, but if you want to put Water above, I can definitely see the arguments that way too.
Okay, if you're willing to fold, I'll put water above dragon here. I think though, as you're saying, they're very clearly on the same tier. It's kind of crazy how the tier like there's kind of three clear tiers here. There is grass psychic fighting, colorless darkness, all very good, all very good cards. You can point
Yeah,
to a single card in each of them that's like very good, and a lot of cards that are pretty decent as well. And they have like some decks kind of and they're just pretty decent. And then you look at Water and Dragon, they have obviously these types are very different, but I think they're very clearly worse than Darkness and those other ones there, and better
yeah,
than the bad types. And they have some stuff. Dragon has just one super good card. Water has a bunch of like all right stuff, not as good as the A and B tier stuff. And then you look at the
right.
bottom three with Fire, Metal, Lightning just being really, really just not very good. They really lack stuff. I think the best card there is definitely Sterilage in my opinion, which is like okay. Um, and it's not some like star Pokemon, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, I think you summed it up well. There's five types that are very good with these middle two types, Water Dragon, and then three types that just need some love. And hopefully over this year, these types will get better. I don't they all won't get better, but I hopefully at least one to two of these between fire, metal, lightning get better. Because it's it hurts me to see fire just so bad to me. I like fire type a lot, and even like lightning, which is usually a pretty good type. Seeing it that at the bottom F tier is just like how can that be? Metal type is always a little funny. So seeing that near the bottom, I'm not shocked by, but seeing fire and lightning down so low. It's just not normally the way the TCG is in my experience.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we both kind of got into the game with the tag team era. We had Lightning and Fire being I think the two best types, and maybe Psychic in there as well,
Yeah,
and maybe Dragon as well, but that was a little different. Um, but yeah, they were so good. With the big dragon team ups there. But anyways, you got not that them team up with each other. That card, Sherman Zekrom was bad, but Reshazard, Pikaram, cool stuff. But this isn't
yeah,
stuff for the past. Though one thing I guess about the past that is interesting is that they did all lose stuff with the rotation. I guess. I mean, Fire lost Charizard DX, which wasn't Fire, but
right.
obviously you play some fire stuff in that deck. So
Right.
losing that is unfortunate. Though I guess you still have Dragapult. And then obviously we lost Goldingo EX, which was very good. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the single biggest loss in terms of rotation for this tier list. I don't know if you'd agree with that. I think it would be a lot
Yeah.
higher if it would be at least a tier higher with that one card.
Yeah. No,
And
that was a yeah. That's a big swing. That's probably the biggest single card swing.
Yeah, and then Lightning had you know, some about some different pieces like Maridon and company. So some like
Yeah.
cool stuff there that it lost the rotation. Ultimately, though, I think it's interesting to see how the types are divided up here, and I am hopeful that Pokemon will help out. I like Lightning, I like yellow as my favorite color. If you didn't know from my logo, which you should check out because you should check out my YouTube channel and also Uncommon Fossils YouTube channel, which is also has yellow. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure, as I said, you check us out on YouTube at 10 Types in Uncommon Fossil. And also, you can listen to our podcast on podcasting platforms. So if you do have questions or any form of comments, leave those comments in the comment section on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed, and as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.